Hello, everyone. Mr. Schultz here with you, coming at you with the final exam review. Can you believe it? We are already at the final exam. There's going to be 3 days of review. Today is day 1. So without further ado, let's review. Okay, so the review, or the exam, I should say, and the review are both cumulative, meaning we're going to go all the way back to the beginning of the semester with some of this stuff. So we get to journey along all the way from where we started to now. So look at number 1. It says M is between N and O. MO is 15, MN is 7.6, find NO. We want to draw a picture. Always draw a picture. It helps you visualize things. So M is between N and O. This is going to be a line segment. M is somewhere in between. So there's M, N, and O. Label what they give you. They say MO is 15. So MO is 15. MN is 7.6. Find NO. So I want to get the whole thing. Okay, so I have the individual parts. We remember our equation we had something that said part plus part equals whole. Well, I know the two parts, 7.6 and 15. So to get the whole thing, which is what I want to find, I can just add those. 15 plus 7.6 gets me, so that's going to be 0.6, 12, 22.6. So NO is equal to 22.6. Okay, so for these next two, or really it's one problem with two parts, we want to classify the angle as acute, right, or obtuse, and then use the protractor to find its measure. So remember, the letter in the middle is where we turn at. So for A, it asks us about W, X, V. W, X, V. So would that angle be acute, right, or obtuse? Certainly looks less than 90. So we're going to say it is acute. Then it comes to measuring the angle. We've got two options. We can say it's 110, or we can say it's 30. Well, we just said the angle was acute. So I wouldn't want to say 110. 110 would be obtuse, which means we've got to go with 30 degrees. Yeah, let's look at A, or sorry, we just did A. B. B is Z X W. I'm not really too sure on this one. I'm not too sure. I don't want to judge it yet and say whether it's acute or obtuse. I do see where I messed up right here, though. That's not a 110, that's a 150. Wow. So 150. Okay. Yeah, this one's a close call. W is either at 30 or 150. Z, let's see, Z on the outside is at 50. Inside, it's at 130. So now, on the first angle, it was resting on the bottom, which meant I just had to pick which one I was going with. But now this angle's tilted up in the air. So I have to subtract either the inner two numbers or the outer two numbers. I'm going to subtract the outer two. It doesn't matter which two I pick. I'm going to do 150 minus 50. That gets me 100. So my angle is 100 degrees. Good thing I didn't say whether I thought it was right or obtuse or acute yet, because visually it looks almost right. But when we measured it, it's 100, which is greater than 90. So this one is obtuse. Three says angle A and angle B are complementary. Complementary means they add to equal 90. If angle A is 33 degrees, find angle B. Together they're 90. One of them we know is 33. Subtract them. 90 minus 33 gets you 57 degrees. So the measure of angle B is equal to 57 degrees. And it says M and N are supplementary. Supplementary means they add to equal 180. If angle N is 54 degrees, find angle M. Well, this is just like number 3. We just subtract the angle they give us, in this case from 180, because they're supplementary. So 180 minus 54, I don't know why I'm doing that in red. That's going to give us 126 degrees. So the measure of angle M equals 126. Okay, number 5, find the next item in the pattern. So first we go For this first pattern, this is 100, 81, 64, 49. Almost looks like we're counting down by the perfect squares. Let's see. 100 is 10 squared. 81 is 9 squared. 64 is 8 squared. 49 is 7 squared. Yep, so our next term should be 6 squared, which is 36. This one we're doing the seasons. Fall, winter, spring. What comes after spring? Summer. Okay, for C, we need to follow the dot around. What's the dot doing? Starts at the very top, and then it's going clockwise, but as it goes, it's skipping 2. So 1, 2. And then when it goes to the next one, 1, 2. So when it goes to the one we need, I try my best to draw this. It's going to be horrendous, but that's okay. To get to the one we need, it's right here. I go over 2. 1, 2. It's going to end right here. We're skipping 2 each time. We're skipping 1 each time, I should say. For these next 3, we're going to be dealing with this conditional statement. We have to find the hypothesis and the conclusion, and then write the converse, inverse, and contrapositive, as well as determine the truth value. So if an angle measures 26 degrees, then it is acute. Well, our hypothesis would be an angle measures 26 degrees. That's what we'll write in for our hypothesis. Remember, do not put the if for your hypothesis. Angle measures 26 degrees. Then it is acute. So it is acute has to be your conclusion. Again, don't put the then as part of your conclusion. It's just, it is acute. For the converse, what order does converse go in? If Q, then P. So if the conclusion, then the hypothesis. If an angle is acute, then it measures 26 degrees. There's our converse. Now, would that be true or false? If an angle is acute, then it measures 26 degrees. Does it have to be 26 degrees? No, it doesn't. It can be anything less than 90. So this is false. For the inverse, your inverse is if not P, then not acute. So then we negate the hypothesis. If an angle does not measure 26 degrees. Then we have to negate the conclusion. It is not acute. So if it's not 26 degrees, then it is not acute. Well, if it's 38 degrees, well, that's acute. So this statement would be false. Just because it's not 26 degrees does not mean that the angle is not acute. And then for the contrapositive, that's if not Q, then not P. So if an angle is not acute, then it does not measure 26 degrees. So if it's not acute, then it does not measure 26 degrees. That's definitely true. Okay, there's page 1. Page 2 starts with us having to find the truth value for each of the following conditional statements. So we have to say if it's true or false. If two angles are acute, then they are complementary. So if they're acute, then they have to be complementary. This is false. Like, but why? Complementary means they add to equal 90. But it just says any two acute angles. So I could come in here, have this angle that's 89 degrees, and then have another angle going this direction that's 79 degrees. You're telling me that if I add those together, they're going to give me 90? No. So this is false. They're both acute angles, yes. But together, they don't give me 90. If an angle is acute, then its measure is less than 90. Yeah, that's true. That's the definition of an acute angle. If two angles are supplementary, then their measures add to equal 90. No, that's false. If they're supplementary, what do they add to equal? Not 90. That should say 180. That's what makes that false. So it's false because of that reason right there. If two angles are supplementary, then they form a linear pair. Do they have to form a linear pair? No. It's false. The reason it's false is we could have non-adjacent angles. Remember, non-adjacent means they're not touching. Adjacent means touching. Non-adjacent means not touching. So really, of these statements, the only one that was true was that second one. Okay, 11. Given that R is parallel to S, what's the measure of each of the following angles? First one they ask us about is angle 1. Now, one thing you could do here is label, or not label, but go on and mark the angles that are the same. All of your obtuse angles have to be the same. So they give us the 113. It should say 113 degrees. I don't know why it doesn't. Somebody fix it. Degrees. Okay, so which other angles then have to be 113 degrees? Well, this is an obtuse angle, so it's got to be 113. This is an obtuse angle, it has to be 113. This one's got to be 113. There's our obtuse angles. To get the acute, you subtract from 180. So 180 minus 113. It's going to give you 67 degrees. So these others have to be 67 degrees. We found all the angles. Now I'll just see which ones they asked for. They say angle 1. Angle 1 we wrote was 113. Angle 2 we said was 67 degrees. And angle 3 was also 113. Number 12, given angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, what theorem or postulate proves that lines R and S are parallel? Okay, so what kind of angles are 1 and 2? First question, are they on the same side or opposite sides of the transversal? They're on the same side, so we can cross out anything that says alternate. They're not on alternate sides. Now, are they both inside the parallel lines? Are they both inside the railroad tracks? No, so they can't be same side interior because they're not interior. They're not both interior. One's in, one's out. That means these are corresponding angles. Corresponding means they're like in the same corner, but on different lines, different parallel lines. 1 and 2 are in the same corner. They're just one's on R, 2 is on S. Okay, 13. What's the slope of JH with the coordinates 5, -1 for H and 1, -5 for J? And one slope. Slope. So our slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Label your points. x1, y1, x2, y2. So then your slope, you plug in. y2 is -5 minus -1 over 1 minus 5. So -5 minus -1 gives you -4. 1 minus 5 is again -4. -4 divided by -4 is 1. There's our slope. 1. Now for B, what is the slope of KM? Where K has the coordinates 4, 8, and M has the coordinates of -1, -4. Again, label your points. So your slope is -4 minus 8 over -1 minus 4. -4 minus 8 is -12. -1 minus 4 is -5. Don't just leave it like this, please. Negative divided by negative is a positive. So write it as 12 over 5. Okay, 14, classify each triangle by its angle measures. So we have to say if it's acute, equiangular, right, or obtuse, and the side lengths, meaning is it scalene, isosceles, or equilateral. A has 4 names. All the angles are the same, so we call it equiangular. $60 degrees is what kind of angle? It's an acute angle, so this is also acute. So got sides, all the sides are the same. That means it's equilateral. But an equilateral triangle is also an isosceles triangle, because an isosceles says just at least two sides. Well, we've got three, so we're at least two. This triangle is equiangular, acute, equilateral, and isosceles. Let's look at B. B, I notice that I have an obtuse angle here. So that means this is an obtuse triangle. And none of the sides are the same. So that means it's obtuse and scalene. There's page 2. Page 3, two of the angles of a triangle are given below. Find the measure of the third angle. A triangle has to add to equal 180. So that means I have to add these and subtract from 180. 88 plus 23 gives me 111. Subtract that from 180, and I get, let's see, it's gonna be a 9, 7 minus 1, 69. This one's gonna be 69 degrees. For B, 43 plus 47 gives me 90. Subtract that from 180, and I get back 90. So this one's going to be 90 degrees. (16) asks us to find the length of BD. Well, there's BD. It says AB and AD are the same, which means CD and CB have to be the same. So BC has to be 3.7 also, which means the whole thing has to be 3.7 plus 3.7. Which is going to be 7.4. So BD is equal to 7.4. (17) Write the angles in order from smallest to largest. Smallest to largest. The smallest angle is across from the smallest side. So my smallest side is 4.6. I go across from it and I land at F. That's my smallest angle. So angle F goes first. Then I look for the next one. My next smallest is 7.1. I'll go across from it to H. That's my next smallest. Angle F, angle H. And then that just leaves me with angle G as my last one. Okay, 18. Find the value of X on each of the following. Looks to me like this is a Pythagorean theorem. Because we've got a right triangle right here. So where's your C? Your C is always across from the right angle. 30 squared plus 40 squared equals x squared. 30 squared is 900. 40 squared is 1600. Add those together and you get 2500. Then we've got to square root it. Square root of 2500 is 50. So x equals 50. Then we have B. Again, your C is always across from the right angle. So 6 squared plus 9 squared has to equal x squared. 6 squared is 36. 9 squared is 81. $36 plus 81 gives you 117. Then we've got to take the square root of it. And I don't know what the square root of 117 is. So I'm going to do it on my calculator. Square root 117. It's like 10.8. 10.8. That's what we're going to settle with. X is equal to 10.8. They don't tell us to simplify the radical. So that's why I'm leaving it as 10.8. If they wanted us to simplify the radical, we could. We can do it right quick. See if I can divide 117 by 3. 39. Okay. Let's just say they said simplify the radical. Let's just say they did. 3 and 39 go into it. 3 I can't reduce anymore. 39, I'm just going to cut to the chase. That's going to be 3 and 13. I've got a couple here. That 3 comes out. So really this is 3 square roots of 13. That 13 is single and stays home. 3 square roots of 13. Notice that if I type that in the calculator, I get the same answer as I got above. So just, I don't think that'll be on there, but I'm not 100% sure. So I want y'all to be prepared. Okay, number 19. Finding issues. Degrees. Okay, we have a 45, 45, 90 special right triangle. They want us to find x, but they don't give us an x. Wow. X is right here. That's our x. Now, our template for a 45, 45, 90 triangle says this side, I'm going to do a cursive X here to represent our template. That side's X, that's X, this is X square roots of 2. So what does, let me do this, let me use an L just for this case because they ask us to find X. I don't want to confuse our template with what we're finding. So I'm going to use L for leg. What does L have to be? L has to be 26. So that means this side that we don't know, our x, has to be 26, because that's what L is, square roots of 2. Means our answer is A. Okay, number 20, tell whether each polygon is regular or irregular and concave or convex. Well, regular means all sides are the same and all angles are the same. For A, all sides are not the same. I've got these two that are different. So that means A is irregular. Concave means it's caved in. It's not concave, so on A, that would be convex. For B, all the sides are not the same for starters. So let's go and just get that out of the way and call this irregular. But it's also caved in right here. It's like Chuck Norris kicked in the side. So this is concave. C, all the sides are the same. All the angles are the same. So this one is regular. Nothing is kicked in. So it's convex. Number 21, find N. Well, these diagonals have to be the same. So that means 3n plus, or sorry, 3n has to equal n plus 7. Subtract your n over. Get you 2n equals 7. Divide by 2, and you get n equals, you can leave it as 7 over 2. You can also write it as 3.5. ABCD is a parallelogram. What's the measure of angle C? Well, angle C is the same as angle A. A and C have to be the same. If A is 110, C better be 110. So the measure of angle C is 110 degrees. There's page 3. Now for the last page. Page 4. It says write a similarity statement for the triangle shown. A similarity statement is just saying one triangle is similar to another triangle. That's it. So the easiest way is to match up your corresponding angles. Let's see what angle K is down here. So 90 plus 23 gets us 117, or no, 113. What am I thinking? Subtract that from 180, and I get 67. So angle K is 67 degrees. There's really no wrong answer here. a similarity statement, there's no wrong answer. However you name your angles on the first triangle, just follow the same pattern on the second triangle. So I'm going to go MRJ. Triangle MRJ is similar to triangle. I started at M, went to R, went to J. So I'm going to do P, K, N. Once you get your first triangle set, then your second triangle just follows the same pattern. I didn't have to do MRJ. I could have done JRM or JM. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just pick the three you want on your first triangle. Make sure the second triangle matches, and you're good. "24. The scale on the map uses 4 centimeters to represent 6 kilometers. So 4 centimeters equals 6 kilometers. The distance between 2 towns on the map is 10 centimeters. So 10 centimeters is equal to how many kilometers? X kilometers. We've got a proportion here. To solve a proportion, you want to cross multiply. Four times X equals 10 times 6. That's going to be 4x equals 60. Divide by 4. We get x equals 15. And that side is in kilometers. In 25, a skateboard ramp makes a 27-degree angle with the ground. The nearest foot. How high is the ramp? How high? That's that side. For this, we have to remember our SOHCAHTOA. So from the angle they give us, the side we want is opposite. The side they give us, this 5 right here, that's adjacent. It's next to it. Which one uses opposite and adjacent? Tangent. That's what the OA stands for. O and A stand for. So the tangent of 27 degrees is equal to x over 5. Multiply both sides by 5 to get rid of this fraction. I don't know why I'm writing in purple, but anyways. X equals, the 5's go away on that side. So I'm just left with x. 5 times the tangent of 27. Now, I need to make sure my calculator is in degrees. If I look on my calculator screen, it says degrees in the top corner. I'm good. If it were to have said radians, you could just go up there with your mouse, click it, and it changes it to degrees. So now I'm going to do 5. To get tangent, I have to hit the trig button right beside the 7. 10, 27. 2.55 basically. We'll say 5476 for now. 2.5476. The question says to the nearest foot, how high is the ramp? Well, to the nearest foot, I have to round to the nearest whole number. That's going to be approximately 3 feet. In 26, ask us to find the area of the rectangle. Area of a rectangle. That's base times height. So 7 times 11. 77. We're in feet, so 77 feet squared. "27. What's the circumference of circle N in terms of pi? Our formula for circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. Here the radius is 13. So 2 pi times 13. What it means by in terms of pi is don't type pi in your calculator. Just do 2 times 13. Get you 26 pi. And we're going to be in miles. That's our circumference. I'm going to skip 28 and come back to it, but I want to do 29 because it's dealing with the same circle. What's the area of circle N in terms of pi? Well, for a circle, area is equal to pi r squared. So this is going to be pi times 13 squared. Says in terms of pi, so just type in the 13 squared. It's going to be 169 pi miles squared. That's your area. Okay. We're moving. Let's go back and grab 28 now. A point is chosen randomly on AD. What's the probability the point is on CD? So I want it to be on this piece right here. How long is the whole thing? Well, 7 plus 1 plus 5 gives you 13. The probability we're on CD, I want to say probability on CD, probability of on CD is equal to 5 over 13. Okay, 30. What's the lateral area? So lateral area of the prism. Formula for lateral area of a prism. Perimeter of the base times your height. Let's get each of those. Big P, so perimeter. The base is what it's sitting on. That would be this piece down here. I want to get the perimeter of that piece. That's my base. Well, that side's going to be 6. No, that side's going to be 4. That side's going to be 6. So 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 6 gives you 20. The height of the whole prism is 12. So your lateral area is going to equal 20 times 12, which is 240 centimeters squared. And 31, what's the volume of the cone? So it wants us to find the volume of a cone in terms of pi. For a cone, the volume is 1/3 big B times H. Well, what's big B? So big B, our base is a circle. Circle, 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 circle. This is our base right here. So the area of a circle is pi r squared. So pi times 18 squared. What's 18 squared? I don't have that one by memory. I think like 524. No, I was off. That's 324. Whew. So 324 pi is your big B. Your H is 27. So plug those in. 1/3 of 324 pi times 27. Type everything but the pi in the calculator. So 1/3 times 324 times 27. 2,916. 2,916. Pi, can't forget your pi. Millimeters cubed. That's our volume. Okay, so that is our final review for day 1. I will kind of tell you days 2 and 3 look pretty darn similar to it. Maybe not exact, but pretty close. So this is just the beginning. Like I said, if you're good with this at this point, then you're probably going to be in pretty good shape for the final. Because this day, and then we have 2 more days of review, they all look pretty similar. Again, not the exact same, but similar. So with that, remember, hang on. Remember, you are awesome and you are created to do wonderful things. Always believe.